In studio today, we have mi madre, my mother.
Hello.
Probably wasn't expecting that. I mean, it's not very often you get to have your mom on your podcast, but I mean, not a lot of people have podcasts. Not that that's like whatever, but like it not normally. I think a guest people think to have on. So, how are you?
Good. A little under the weather, but good.
Yeah, you're very festive today.
Thank you. You're my
welcome.
present, so
Hey, I try to hang in there.
yep.
What is your favorite holiday? Like, do you have a favorite holiday throughout your entire life, or has it changed?
It was always Thanksgiving because my mom put on a spread. She cooked for the neighborhood. Everybody showed up. All family was around. So Thanksgiving was till my mom passed away.
Okay. And
And
everything was always at Nanny's house.
yes, and
Nanny had a pretty. To me, it seemed like whenever I was growing up, at least, it seemed pretty big.
yes.
I recently drove by there, and it seems way smaller than I remember, which is crazy because, you know...
You're bigger now.
Yeah,
so.
you're such a little kid. Everything is so big, but... Yeah, I remember so many holidays over there.
Yes. Mama cooked from scratch and we ate till we couldn't move, and half the people went to sleep and the other went outside play football or
Yeah.
toss the kids around on the little round jogging trampoline.
Yeah.
And Bradley, he always made it really fun, which is your cousin.
Yeah.
He converted a shopping cart into a demolition cart. He'd strap the little kids in it and run them around the yard like they were at the racetrack, and he'd have pillows belted to them and
Yeah.
stuff around their head, and he always made it fun. He was a good kid and lost his way, and now he's a blessed man with a big family and
Yeah.
very godly.
He was kind of doing the Jackass thing before Jackass came around. Do you
Yeah.
remember Jackass?
Yes.
It was very like shopping cart down a hill, or like whatever kids could get into without really having to spend any money.
Right.
You know, they do like skateboard ramps or pranks on people, things like that.
Right.
Yeah, whenever I was growing up, I didn't think Bradley was my cousin just because he was so much older than me. And like seeing him recently, like he feels like an uncle more than he feels like a cousin.
Right.
I don't know how much older he actually is than me, but it feels like an uncle age gap kind of thing.
Right. Well, Aunt Jerry, she had 5 kids, a boy, 3 girls, and then a boy. And me and Shelley are the same age. We're just months apart. And then Bradley showed up, and he's the baby. So, but good family.
Yeah. What has been one of your like favorite holiday memories? Is it like a Thanksgiving memory? Or like when you think back, like what is like an all-time great holiday memory?
Watching my brothers. They got these gas-powered little cars where you had to spin the back wheel to crank them, and they were real loud.
Like RC cars?
I guess you had to put gas and
But like
fuel in
it's
them.
with a remote control?
Yes,
Okay.
but they were super fast, and we'd go to Mariner Mall back then. It's Lowe's now.
Okay, so
And
I bring up that mall every couple podcasts. I bring up that we used to go to
Westwood Mall or Mariner Mall.
yeah, and it had a movie theater in there.
Yes, dollar movie.
And then it eventually, I mean, it was like that mall, but then next to it was Scotty's.
Scotty's was in there. Yes.
Oh, it was connected?
Yeah. Well,
I thought
it was
like
in the same parking
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, exactly.
Same
And they used to
parking
do like the dollar drop where it was like a helicopter, and then they would drop Scotty's cash.
lot. Right. And
But like nobody I ever have on knows that. Like they cannot relate to that. They don't know what Scotty's is. They don't know that that mall had a movie theater in it.
right.
But I remember going to the movies. I think it was with you and Amy. I have no idea what we saw, but I just remember
Smokey and the Bandit was a big
maybe that.
draw, and it was $1, so you could see it every day. And I probably seen it 5 or 6 times just because one of my friends didn't see it yet, and they wanted to go.
Yeah.
And when my dad was in town, he wanted to take his friend from Scotland that was with him to see it. And we, big family thing. We all went, and
Was that there since you were a kid? That mall?
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first movie there? Like
No.
ever?
No.
Do you remember the first one you remembering?
Smokey and the Bandit, because I've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there were other ones, but...
Like, I feel like the movie that me and you and Amy must have saw, I want to say was something like The Never-Ending Story, maybe? You know what I'm talking about? With the big white
Right.
dog in the air, and Falco, I think was his name. But it was something like that. It was like a fantasy type thing, I think. Or it might have been that Macaulay Culkin was in a movie where he reads a book, but the book becomes his life. It's very similar to Never-Ending Story.
I was about to say, that might be the same movie.
They're different movies.
Oh, okay.
Because man, it was just on the tip of my tongue. My buddy Kitty, he has an original movie poster for the movie I'm talking about. I can't think of the name of it, but I want to say it was something like fantasy style. Because I remember the movie theater being darker. Like, it wasn't, like, the movie theater very much was similar to me as, like, the silver screen. Like, the silver screen was, like, darker. It's not like the Rave or AMC movie theater where it's, like, huge.
Well, you're talking 30 years ago.
Yeah, so it felt very much like, I mean, it was a one-story thing. You know what? We might have also saw one of the Terminators in there.
That's possible.
Because I remember it also seeing another one where it was like a scary movie to me. I mean, I was a little kid.
Right.
I always had a thing, like traumatic thing with the Terminator because I thought that thing was real. I didn't understand movies were not real.
Right. Well, you got to consider that was an older theater too, and it was all blacked out. It's not like they got running lights down the pathways and stuff like that.
And it felt like they had like, I don't know what an average ceiling height is, but it felt like the ceilings were like 6 foot tall. They were very short. It felt like you were in that cave.
Right.
I mean, it was.
Well,
we're making it sound like it was like an actual cave. It's not a cave, but it's like a real building.
A dungeon.
Yeah. But I remember that. Sorry, you were actually talking about your brothers and going up there with the RC cars.
Yeah, that was a fun time. I'm the only girl in my family. Yeah, after we got done opening Christmas presents Christmas morning, and we were going to the parking lot so they could run them because they were so fast.
Yeah.
And I think Jimmy had one, and Tommy and Ronnie had one. I don't think Jeffrey was into them like that because me and him are closer in age.
Yeah.
But
the youngest?
Yeah. I'm the baby, and then it's Jeffrey, then Ronnie, then Tommy, then Jimmy. So, and they were into that kind of stuff, and I just remember them tweaking the back wheel, and that's how you started it, to get the
motor going.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And they were so loud and sounding like they were, parking lot's not flat like they are now. Back then it had, and they were spunky little fast things, and me being around all boys all the time, I was attracted more to that than I was Barbies.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't get into Barbies till me and Jamie, 2 doors down from us, became friends. And to tell you how poorly, because I never asked for a Barbie doll, because I wasn't, I didn't have nobody to play with.
Was Barbie like big in your age, or was that like, did it
Yeah,
get bigger after you were like,
she's always been,
it's always been that?
yeah.
Okay.
But my thing was a baby, like a doll, not a
Yeah.
Barbie, you know. Uh, and mine, you could feed her and she'd poop and, she'd
What the
pee.
hell?
Uh, Baby
You
love
might
a
have had a
lot.
real baby.
No,
You
she
might
wasn't.
have. You don't know if that thing was eating and pooping.
Yeah, you
That's a real
change a
baby.
diaper and, Yellow would spit out her butt. And,
Basically, you're just describing how you treated me as a child. You're like, I fed it,
no, I
it
treated
pooped
my
as.
doll better because she didn't give me no lip,
Yeah.
Teasing.
Yeah.
No, you were too cute to mistreat.
I was a little fuzzball. But
You
you
were a
and
little
Jamie got
butterball.
you and Jamie got together. Y'all just met at school or something?
Well, she lived 2 doors down,
Yeah.
and she had all the Barbies. She had everything. And because I wanted to play with a doll, I'd take washcloths and roll them up and put like a rubber band around them and pretend like they were a Barbie.
Oh wow.
And when Jamie say, "Hey, you want to come down and play Barbies?" That was the highlight of my day because she'd open a big case and it wasn't nothing but clothes, and
Yeah.
she had all the Barbies. She had a couple different Kens, and that was the highlight of my day. Because I got to have girl time.
Yeah.
Because my mama didn't know what to do with me. She had
Yeah.
4 boys than me, and she was like, "I don't know what to do with you." So if I wasn't pestering the boys, I was, trying to get mama's attention.
Yeah.
She's so busy because she was a volunteer at the hospital, like a candy striper, but it was called something else. I can't remember right this minute. She was at McDonald's where she cleans the table, a hostess.
A hostess. I
At
remember her being
McDonald's.
a bus driver.
A bus
School
driver.
bus
Well, when school wasn't in,
Yeah.
she'd fill that up with everything else. But when she was driving the bus, she was still working at the hospital.
Yeah.
So she was always busy, and I'm sure it was to get away from all of us.
Yeah.
Because if the boys wasn't fighting, they were, working on cars
Getting
or,
into something.
So I had a blessed life.
Yeah.
I didn't have a sister or around girls a lot because, one brother have a friend over, and next thing you know, half the neighborhood's in the house. And I guess that's why mom and dad had such a big house. And, I didn't, I was a late bloomer. I didn't go on my first date till I was 18,
Wow.
because boys meant working on a car, getting dirty, or getting blamed for something, or go call a parts place and see if they had this part,
Yeah.
And I was happy to do that till it started infringing on, okay, I can go play with Jamie down the street and I ain't got to do all this,
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I started driving, that I didn't get to play no more, which,
Yeah.
I was out of dolls by then, but I loved being around my brothers,
Yeah. Your brothers are fun. To relate to the Jamie thing, I think we all have a friend whenever we're growing up that we have that has way more money than us or is better off, and they have all the coolest toys.
Well, I
'Cause
don't think it was a money thing because I think our parents were. Her mom was a teacher. Her dad, I want to say, worked at what the paper plant.
Mhm.
So between mom and dad, dad being a tugboat and mama being a school bus driver and a stripe that didn't pay, she'd volunteered for that. But uh, Mama just didn't know how to take care of a girl,
Yeah.
and I was happy to be a boy.
Also, hand-me-downs are different. You're getting
Yeah.
all the boys hand-me-downs. It's not like the boys are playing with Barbies. At
Well,
least not back then.
being at Nanny's house over on Lakeview, uh, we'd be on the front porch snapping peas and, you know, cleaning collards and stuff like that. And all the boys be playing football in the yard or across in the parking lot. And they'd take their shirt off. And I'd say, Mama, I want to take my shirt off. And she says, you can't. I said, why? I'm the same as them.
Yeah.
She says, but you're a girl. Never understood that because I looked just like you did, you know.
Yeah.
And a birthday come up and growth started, you know. But I I was the fifth brother. I tell all my friends and stuff. I said, you know, they beat on me like a brother, you know, tell on me like a brother, and
Yeah.
you know,
Times were
but
different back then.
yeah,
I mean, I remember I kind of had the same situation with all my sisters where like they would beat on me and I would beat on them, but I was always way smaller than them for a long time.
right.
And then by the time I got their same size, I that had like phased
Phase
out.
out, yeah.
Yeah, but like I remember getting in a fight with Amber in a hotel. I can't remember what, I think we were in the hotel because of a hurricane or something, and my dad happened to have both the girls at the time, Tiffany and Amber, and we were in the hotel and stir crazy. We didn't have anything going on, and Amber and me got into it. I don't know if she was being lippy and I couldn't take it no more or whatever, and she charged me, and my back is against the hotel door. As soon as she got to me, I moved out of the way and I pushed her into the door, and it bloodied her nose, and it was like,
A lot of blood.
well, no, I mean like she saw red.
Right.
Like I've never seen her mad like that before, and we did definitely get into fights after that as well. But like
Well, that's
getting beat up by your siblings, I very much relate to. Although all my siblings were bigger girls.
it's a pecking order
Yeah, for sure.
to find out who's who, and you know.
I
And
think that's why me and you relate a little more than like other people in our family is we are both the youngest.
right.
So like I get the dynamic of like children, like the pecking order of the siblings and stuff, and I don't know. I don't know if like the younger or being the youngest makes you feel like an outcast or anything, but I definitely have like I'm not like my sisters at all. I mean, I do relate to some of them in some ways, but like I don't have anything they have in life. Like I don't have a family or like I'm not married or with children or anything like that.
Well, you're a guy, and
Yeah.
they're women. You know, women tend to go toward a family unit more than, not saying you don't want a family unit, but you're more on track on getting your life together and straight and what
Yeah.
you want to be happy with you before you invite Mrs. Right into the picture and
Yeah.
make her life right with yours, you know.
Yeah.
But don't never follow my lead because I've been there a couple times. So.
Yeah. It is what it is. You try to find love. I think that's just what life is about, is like trying to figure out what makes your world turn, you know? But talking back about the Mariner Mall thing, there's a lot of things in that parking lot I remember as memories for us. Like I remember going through Ivan together. I remember doing the like Burger King where they had the Pokemon. You could get like a burger. I don't even know what Burger King meals are called for kids. It's not Happy Meals. That's McDonald's. But like whatever the Burger King meal for kids is, you would get like a Pokemon ball and it would have like a gold like square thing in it and you would have to collect them. But I remember like always wanting to do that.
Right.
Another like childhood memory that I like, it's locked into me is like having a birthday at the McDonald's on like Navy. Like it was like a joint birthday with you and my dad. And like I remember getting the presents, and one of the presents was a Nintendo. It was a Super Nintendo, not a Nintendo 64, a Super Nintendo. So it was like the cartridge. You had to
Right.
put the cartridge in the thing. But I remember, I think I was with him that week, and then like it was the transfer over to you, and like I got to take those things over to Nanny's, and I got to play it in the living room, at least like the first day or whatever. But I remember that so heavy in my mind, like it was yesterday. That's how like vivid that specific
Right.
memory is. I don't know why those are like that, but
Was that the year your birthday cake was a big hamburger with fries on the side?
I
Which
don't
it was
ever
cake, but
remember any cakes. Like it's not that I didn't have cakes, but I just don't remember those types of things.
right.
I don't know why my brain doesn't hold on to that, but I remember like here's a weird thing about that same birthday. I remember whenever I was leaving, I just put all my gifts into a big trash bag. I don't know why I remember that, but I remember that.
Right.
It was like
Felt
the
like Santa Claus.
yeah, I was like this is crazy. But I can't remember any of the other gifts. But I remember that gaming console cuz I was like, wow, I can play Mario. Like the world opens up as a kid when you can do things that aren't in the world, if that makes sense. Like if you
Right.
could do something on the TV, if you can control what you're seeing on the TV as a
Right.
kid, that kind of power is you can't even understand it. You're like, I can
I have
move.
arrived.
Yeah, and before the whole game thing, you're only controlling like the level of sound or like what is already pre-programmed on the TV
Right.
channel wise. So you're only watching a few things, but
Right.
to be able to do that, and that was crazy. I remember
Excuse me.
skating a lot at Nanny's,
Hmm.
like having these ramps and like this rail that Bobby and his boys from across the street would let us skate on. It's a
Hmm.
lot of things from like that era. I remember I was going to Escambia High School, and I remember it was close enough that I technically could walk, but there was I want to say there was a bus that ran by there. I didn't. It wasn't often that I was like going to your house through school. You know what I'm saying? Like transferring
Well,
through
I
school like on a
always
Friday.
took you to school when you were with me.
Yeah, but like to get home, I can't remember how I would get home, but I remember that MTV would play this thing where it was like true stories of kids, like high schoolers that would prank their high school. And I remember like whenever I was staying over there, whenever I would get home from school, I'd go into the kitchen, I'd make like 2 ham sandwiches, and then I'd go sit in front of the TV and watch that show. No idea why I remember that so vividly,
Right.
but I remember that like I have a craving for that sandwich. I don't even like that sandwich like that anymore.
Right.
But like that memory, it's like a crave for that memory if you could like
Right.
relive that thing.
Yeah. Go back in time.
Yeah. Are there any like that you think of like growing up that you're like, man, I could taste that memory. I could be in that thing again if you just thought
You're
hard
asking
enough.
me to dust off some cobwebs.
I mean,
Dang. Uh,
because like obviously you're older than me, so I wonder if you hold on to those like core memories forever, or do they eventually like your brain just lets go of them?
they're not up front so much
Yeah.
because we grew up around race cars and Five Flag Speedway.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Five Flag Speedway, before it had walls, it was nothing but dirt and all that. The hill under the bleachers was the best time for a kid because you could run down it or you could roll down it. You could hide under the bleachers and see everybody's feet, butt, whatever they had hanging out. And, you
Bunch
could,
of early peeping toms.
I guess. Uh, but if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, somebody would throw a little bit of beer left in their cup under the bleacher, smell like beer, but they've changed it so much now. It's got walls and, you know, bleachers are still there, but I don't know if you can go under them still. But,
Yeah, I know they've done a lot of renovations, and I know like I think the Snowball Derby is coming up. Like, I've been seeing a lot of advertisement. I think it's like next week they're starting racing or something. But all the boys raced, didn't they? Like, everybody? Or
No. Well, we all was involved in it, some form or fashion. Uh, Jimmy and Tommy built the cars. Uh, Tommy drove and dominated. Tommy Aaron, by the way. And Jimmy Aaron. Uh, and Tommy's car was he modeled it after Nanny and Granddaddy's race car, which was orange with the big bright blue 35. Floyd's radiator company sponsored them, and it was I don't remember what year it was, square body Chevy, like a 56. It was just a good time to be with family, because Friday night was coming up. They were already got the car ready. It's painted. It's got all its prep done to it. It's time to get the trailer prepped. So when they crank her up and put her on the trailer, Mom would make hot dogs and put them in the bun and put them right back in the package.
Oh, that's cool.
That way they stayed good and
tight,
and it was just a good time.
I've always, like, growing up, hearing about, like, the things that you guys used to do, I always looked at the boys like they were, like, way manlier than me, because, like, I'm into different things than them, and they could always, like, from nothing, you could give them, like, a thimble and, like, a piece of grass, and they could get that thing going down a quarter mile in, like, 6 seconds. Right. And I'm like, I could never figure out how to do things like that, so I always looked at them like they were, like, really cool or, like, legendary. And to hear about, like, the memories y'all have racing and stuff, I always looked at that like...
But you raced.
It's so cool. Yeah, but on a very different level. Like, they were hands-on, like, building the cars and stuff, just like you said. Like, I looked at them like how when I initially got into NASCAR and seeing, like, old-school dirt racing from them and, like, Richard Petty and Bobby Labonte and, like, all these people coming up, and, of course, Dale Earnhardt. But I looked at them like they were that, like, in association with me. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And I always wanted to live that memory with y'all.
Right.
Obviously, I wasn't alive, but, like, that's always something that, like, if I had a time machine, I would go back to that to see how that was for you guys, because it always sounded so cool.
Well, when you started racing dirt track, I was like, here we go. Here's my childhood all over again, because I was so excited. And when you raced, and you wasn't even in first, I think you were third at...
It would have been Loxley or Flemington.
Yeah, Loxley. And you come up in the stands after your race, and I don't even remember what place, because you were the winner the minute you started going around the track to me. You know, I didn't see nobody else on the track.
Yeah.
And you come up and you had your jumpsuit on, and I don't think anybody else could have been in the stands but me and you, because your head was so big, because you were so proud of yourself. And I, of course, so emotional.
Yeah.
I was, oh, my baby, and, Amy was there.
I think more people were there than I remember, because I was bringing this up to Jeffrey, and I was like, I don't know if you know this, but I raced dirt track too. And he was like, I was there. And I was like, you were there? And he's like, yeah, I went to one of your races. And I was like, oh, wow, I don't remember that. I think Paul and them were there. I don't think they were there for me. I think they were there watching a race and then realized I was there racing. But the race you're talking about was called the Strawberry 50. And you have, like, 10-lap heats. So the amount of people that were racing, I can't remember. I want to say it was like 40 people, and they split us up into 3 heats. I won my heat.
Right.
So I think I started and finished in third in the actual race.
Right.
But I
Yeah.
won first in mine, so I won a first place trophy for my heat, and then I won like a third place trophy for the actual race.
Right.
But I remember that because that was like a highlight of mine. To me, I was like, that was so sick. I mean, I'm just running like these little 4-cylinder cars, but
It don't matter. You're racing.
yeah, to me, I was like, this is so sick. And I was,
Dirt, asphalt, whatever. Racing's racing.
it is, and it's like,
It gets in your blood.
and I can't even imagine what it would have been like for you guys. Like, y'all's seems so much cooler than mine. Like, mine was fun. It was fun. Like, I wouldn't trade it for the world. Like, I love that memory,
But
and I
dirt
wish.
pays better than, granted, it's been a few years since I've been there. Back when Tommy and Jimmy were racing, you know, you didn't win that much.
Yeah.
Dirt was paying better, and dirt, they race for pink slips. Somebody can challenge you for your car, and you have to hand it over if you don't win, you know. At Southern, I don't know if it's that way at every.
See, I never
racetrack.
got to race at Southern. Southern was like the other of the three. Excuse me, of the three that I never got to get to because it was like the opposite way. Like Flemington and Loxley are kind of in the same direction, and then Southern is the opposite way.
Right.
And so we never got out there to race, but I did go out there and watch races. And I mean, if you ever get an opportunity to go to like any of those raceways, I don't know if all three of them still exist, or if you can go to like
Jeffrey raced at Baker. I don't know the other tracks he's raced at Atmore back when Atmore was doing well. Atmore would even have a open class to where you could I could pull my car out there and you could pull your car out there, and it's just open. Yeah, whoever you get with in the line is who you race.
That's crazy.
And one weekend we all loaded up and went to Atmore, and Mom had an X11 Citation, a cherry red, best car ever, front wheel drive, and the boys raced it a couple times, and Dad looked at me and he says, "Go get in it." I said, "Me get in it?"
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, go get in it." And I dropped that clutch and I was screaming down the line. I don't remember if I won or not because I was just.
Oh, so you did get an opportunity to race.
Yeah.
How did you feel? Like how crazy was that to you?
I got so excited and overwhelmed. The feeling, just proud that my daddy said, "Go get in it."
Yeah.
My mama's car, my mom could have cared less. She wants to make sure we're just safe. And my head, I couldn't even get out of the car. My head was so swollen up by the time I got back to park the car. And, but we could have been there all night, which we were there. The car stayed on the line, in the line. Ronnie and I don't know if
Because what are
Jeffrey
y'all,
was.
5 kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, you and four boys. That is a lot. Like I would assume y'all would have to share a lot of hobbies.
Well, it was Mama's car. Mama didn't have to share her car. Dad took his 80 pickup up there, and it would get on down the road, But there were also people there that had street legal cars that were set up like
Like a sleeper.
like a high octane car.
Yeah, so that you wouldn't be able to tell from the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you knew it when they got on the line, warmed their tires up, and they just woof, woof, woof,
Yeah.
like that.
So you're talking about a drag race now.
Atmore is
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Well, we were talking about dirt track, so I thought you were still talking about dirt track racing.
It's all racing to me. It don't
Yeah.
matter dirt, asphalt, straight
Well,
line,
I never did
and
any
circle.
drag racing. I only ever did the dirt tracks, like circle.
Well, Jeffrey does Top Fuel. He's a drag racer.
Yeah.
And you know what his car looks like.
Now I don't, but I did talk to him like while we were all there, and yeah, he was saying about some of the money he spent on it, and
Oh, yeah.
that's crazy.
He said he spent $4,000 just on the brake system on that car.
Yeah.
It took him like 10 years to build that car, a little at a time. You know,
Yeah.
buying the wheels, the rear end, and, you know, he
crazy.
had the body, and
Yeah.
it's just a shell, you know. But they're designed to break up. That way it don't hurt you. But,
Yeah.
first time me and Mama went and seen him in Baker, we were pulling in the parking lot parking, and you'd hear him wow, and go and we're walking up to where Jeff's trailer was, and Teresa's hauling ass back to the
You're good.
hauling ass back to the trailer. It was Jeffrey that
you said sorry, and then you said ass again.
well,
I mean, I don't care, but it's funny that you said I'm sorry, and then you said ass right back again. Anyways, Teresa.
But no, we were already there. We just got to the trailer.
Yeah.
And Teresa come running over. Jeff's about to race. And we run up to the fence to watch him. And they burn their tires and everything. And the Christmas tree goes off. And Jeff he got too much traction. And he wrecked. And it looked like it killed him.
Yeah.
And Mama fell apart right there. I fell apart right there. And we're trying to run because, you know, he's way down the track. And, of course, people can't go on the strip. So he said, how'd that look? You know, he wasn't worried. He wasn't
just
hurt.
got right out of it?
He just got shook up. Well, that's how their cars are built.
Yeah, I know, but, like, he was able to free himself. That he wasn't, like, trapped by being upside down or anything. He just... He ended up landing fine, like, just on his regular wheels?
Well, the body of his car breaks up.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's like a roll cage. I understand how cars work.
I don't think he flipped. He just crashed.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking, because I've seen a bunch of crashes. I thought he, like, hit and just rolled and rolled and rolled.
Which, you know, my memory's going. So I don't remember him flipping.
Yeah.
But it broke up his car, and then when they finally brought him back close to the trailer, he hugged on Mama because Mama was upset. I was upset, so we all was hugging on him, and that's back when Ashley and Holly was tiny, and but he was okay. He says, I knew I should have never borrowed he borrowed something from his friend's car because he didn't have one. And
You're good.
Okay. And he says, I knew I shouldn't have borrowed that because that's when that happened. Because he borrowed it without asking. He was going to ask him because he was out of town or something like that. But that ended his day, you know, because his car was trashed. But,
and I assume that cost so much money.
Yeah.
So much money just down the drain. But, like, that's part of the risk you take whenever you're doing those types of hobbies. They're expensive.
But when you feel that, I'm sure Jeff just thunder.
Yeah.
You know, it ain't nothing like NASCAR.
Yeah.
You know, that's rocking and rolling big time, you know, and just that thrust of power under your butt and getting down the road so quick. I'm sure it made his head swell, but he's always liked that.
Yeah, for sure.
He wasn't never big on race car like Five Flags or anything or dirt track. You know, Jimmy and Tommy done Five Flags Speedway, Ronnie done dirt track, and then Jeffrey done Top Fuel.
Did anybody ever make it to like a pro level?
Tommy was the biggest success, you know. He dominated He got like rookie of the year and everything he could get, he was getting it, you know.
Yeah.
But look at the support group he had, you
Yeah.
know, all of us, me and Mama and whoever else around us in the stands screaming, not that they can hear us, and, you know, and Granddaddy and Uncle Tim and Carl Still, and, you know, all, you know, we grew up there.
Yeah.
You know, it was a family. Dysfunctional at times, but it was a family, you know.
Yeah.
Feelings get hurt or get cut off or, you know, it's it was a great
But
childhood for me.
but he never went pro or anything. Like he just stayed here locally racing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, th- him and Linda was wanting to have a baby and,
Yeah.
you know, that never panned out for them, but then they uh, got Bristol and
Yeah.
so
But so I thought I heard something about somebody was in like a pit crew for NASCAR.
that's Uncle Randy.
Okay,
That's
okay.
Aunt Jerry's oldest son.
Gotcha.
He was at the
Yeah, that's what
funeral.
okay, that must be where I'm like getting that mixed up.
Well, Uncle Tim drove 18 wheeler for I'll think of his name in a minute.
Like for a NASCAR team?
Hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
And so does Keith.
See, I remember Keith, but I don't
Keith and
remember
Adrian.
his face, but I know the names.
He looked just like Tim, big and wide, and well, they live out of town. He works for.
It's okay. It's not a big deal to remember it, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, being in any part, sweeping the floors in the shop
Yeah.
is a big deal. And
I've seen some behind the scenes stuff of like how DEI, like Dale Earnhardt Incorporated and stuff, would be like years ago. Not that it's really a thing anymore, but Dale Earnhardt Jr. has a podcast. I cannot remember the name of it. It's not Dale Earnhardt Jr. podcast, but it's something, and he has on like everybody you can think of and talks to them about stuff, and it's really interesting to hear like people you're like, yo, I'm Dale Earnhardt or I'm Dale Earnhardt Jr. I hate Jeff Gordon, or you hate certain people. They're rivals to you, and maybe they're not actually rivals, or like maybe they were in the time, but it's cool to see them sit down and talk like in a like
well,
we're
at the end
past
of
that
the
kind
day,
of
they're teammates. They're all teammates at the end of the day.
yeah, just
You know, different teams. When you're on the track, you're out for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, but at the end of the day, you know,
it's about being safe and making it home. Yeah,
it's not a good race if Jeff Gordon's not there and Earnhardt's not there, and you know, that makes it like Tony Stewart. I'm not a fan of Tony Stewart at all.
Yeah.
I was a Jimmy Johnson fan, big time, and but they're teammates. You know, without Tony Stewart being on there, you know, it wouldn't be as exciting because you gotta have a whiner in the group somewhere.
Wow, she's taking shots.
Well, I'm not trying to take shots, but you know who don't cry about it. They just get the job done.
Yeah.
You know, good, bad, or ugly, they get the job done. They ain't got to whine about every little thing or act like their head's up their butt or, you know.
But also part of that is like what got them there.
Right.
You know, like not everybody has the same path to like being a professional in whatever your field is, but like maybe Tony Stewart, as you're saying, like maybe him whining got him like the better equipment, got him the better opportunities because he wouldn't.
Are you saying the squeaky wheel gets the grease?
It works. I squeak a lot so I can get some oil.
Right.
Also, I wanted to bring up some of like just the things that I notice on a daily that I've picked up from you, or like memories I have with you, things that I can't seem to let go of now. And it must just be like embedded in my memory or whatever.
Right.
But like it was at Nanny's house, but it was in your bedroom. And you would watch Sex in the City, or you would watch like whatever the movie is. But I remember Sex in the City a lot just because it was like a reoccurring thing and I could notice it.
Right.
Like it just episodes or whatnot. And we would either have sunflower seeds, Starbucks ice cream, popcorn, all things that like I have a connection to now in life. Also, I have a problem with I can't watch something alone.
Right.
And I think it goes back to that. Like, if I watch something alone now, it's like because I know it's too stupid that anybody else would like it. Or it's like
Like Dumb
related.
and Dumber?
No, I mean like even worse. I know you don't know this, but like the Trend twins, they're like these... They're literally twins. They're brothers, but they lift weights and they do like steroids. But they're hilarious because they have like... They probably don't actually have roid rage, but they have like... They're fed up with each other a lot. So they'll fist fight or they'll be like, shut up, you don't even know what you're talking about. And then immediately be fine.
Right.
And go back to like doing whatever they were doing. So it's just
Taylor Swift's man?
No.
Okay.
No, these are little boys.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they're like 20-year-old kids.
Right.
I don't say little boys, but like they're not Taylor Swift kids. But they're funny.
Right.
I have no idea why I was saying that. Oh, because it's like dumb stuff that I would only watch by myself. But if I'm gonna watch something that I feel like is of importance or funny or maybe not funny, but it's something I want to share with somebody, or if I feel like I look at something and I'm like, man, I want to be able to have this to relate with someone later, I can't watch it alone. So a documentary or a new movie or something, and I think that goes back to doing that with you.
Right.
You know, like those, I know the lights would be off and I'd be like, yo, can I go get a bag of popcorn? And I would like rip up the bag of popcorn and I'd lick the bag because it would be so buttery.
You get that from me too?
Dude, it was so bad. But like those memories stick with me real heavy. There's also certain movies that stick with me real heavy from like our, like growing up. And that's Santa Claus with Tim Allen.
Mm-hmm.
That like, I don't know why, but I see that and I think of you. Like, that is, like, a core memory of, like, you and all that. I don't know why, but it just...
Probably Nanny's house.
Yeah, I mean, it also was, like... I can't remember when it came out, but it came out after I was born. I want to say, like, 93 or something, but it was, like... It was huge. And it was so good. I watched it the other day, and I was, like... There's some lines in there that I better understand now that I'm an adult. And I'm like, that's so funny.
Right.
Like, Tim Allen, like he's, what is his name? It's Scott Calvin. Scott Calvin is Tim Allen in the movie. So he is Santa Claus. SC, Scott Calvin, Santa Claus. But he sees Santa on the roof and he falls. And then his suit is just there. And then he gets the card and he's like, if you're reading this, you become the new Santa. Well, later on in the movie, nobody understands that he's Santa Claus. They think he's crazy. Because they're like, for you to think you're Santa Claus or even to believe Santa Claus exists, you're insane. Well, so he's having this like dispute with his wife and his wife's partner. So like there's a rivalry between Scott Calvin and the stepfather. But the stepfather is Neil, and he is so, like, I don't know, not passive-aggressive, but he kind of is aloof a little bit.
Right.
Like, he doesn't get it. Well, Scott Calvin's walking up to the house to go see his son, and I can't remember his son's name, but his wife, or ex-wife, meets him. And he's like, oh, my God, he says such a funny line, but he like, God, I'm butchering this. He's like, where is he? And then she said, I think he's upstairs playing with his toys. And he goes, not Neil. I'm talking about my son. Like, as a funny joke, like, because, of course, Neil's so stupid. Like, he'd just be playing with toys. But, like, that, I remember so much about that movie and how it relates to, like, growing up with you. It's such a core memory. Do you have, like, a top 3 Christmas movies, like things that just the best Christmas movies of all time to you. Now, before you say any of them, we should do the list. Like, we do a list here on the show. So we'll do like, you'll go in order like 3, 2, and then I'll say my 3, my 2, and then we'll say your 1, and then I'll say my 1. But
Top 3 movies?
top 3 Christmas movies, like things, or it could be a holiday movie if it's not Christmas necessarily, but it's more so like Christmas has all the holiday movies. Like, there's not a lot of Thanksgiving movies. I can give you some, for example. A Christmas Story, killer movie.
Right.
That's the one where he like self-narrates the movie.
Right.
I shot my eye out, I licked the thing, and it stuck his tongue.
Right.
You got Santa Claus, like the one I just described. You have Jingle All the Way, which is a Arnold Schwarzenegger movie about trying to get a toy for his son.
Right.
But he's pretty absent in the entire movie, but he's like, I know I could get him a Rocket Man or whatever the toy's called.
Miracle on
31st Street or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember that movie, and I think Hilton really likes that movie, but I can't remember.
It's very old school.
Yeah, I don't like
Christmas.
the old school movies. Not those old.
Well, it's a good story. That's why. It's such a good story.
The Grinch Who Stole Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I like the live action one the most.
Right.
Obviously, like, Jim Carrey crushes that movie. But those are some examples. Do you want? Give me some information on it. I could probably tell you what happens in it.
Chevy Chase is the
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
No, it's where he's. It might have been they redone Miracle on 31st,
I don't know.
whatever.
Is it Chevy
Where-
Chase Christmas movie?
Well, it's not the Lampoon group of people. It's where he's the boss or the
Scrooged?
that might be it.
But that's Bill Murray.
Okay, that where he was. Everybody's working Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and a lot happens to him. Yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah, that.
Yes.
Yeah, Scrooged. Yes, very good movie. I have to rewatch that soon because like Bill Murray is so good. But yeah, there's a bunch of really good movies from like the 80s to the 2000s of Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess we're not doing the list very well, but I will say my number 1 is Four Christmases. This is my number 1
I just watched this one too.
Christmas movie of all time. There's so many good things in it.
Right.
And Vince Vaughn has got to be one of the greatest comedic actors of all time. Of all time.
Right.
He is so funny. And, like, you read his emotions so well. Like, everything about him is like, yeah, I can relate to that. Or I feel like that's how I would react in that situation. He in this scene that we're watching right now, because Four Christmases is on in the TV in the studio, but his best friend is dating his mom. And his best friend's sitting down and he's like, I want to be your friend. He goes, you were my friend. You were my best friend. Then you started dating my mom. Dude, there's so many good little scenes in this movie. And Reese Witherspoon being like his wife or girlfriend, because they don't believe in marriage. Such a good, like, she's such a good cop, bad cop thing because they flip the roles every house they're at. Because they have to visit all 4 houses. Their parents are all divorced, so they have to visit each individual parent's house for the Christmas.
They were going to Tahiti.
I think they were going to like Bali or something.
Right.
Supposedly for charity to help these kids out.
Right, on
really, they were
vacation.
just doing a Christmas vacation.
Right.
Another movie that kind of has the same beginning theme as this is what is that movie? It's also with Tim Allen. Oh my God. It has the same plot. Like, Christmas with the Cranks.
Yes, I just watched that.
It's so good.
Yes.
I love the beginning part where he doesn't take the umbrella and he has to go out and get the ham. And then he's like, no, I'm good. And he's like, I think you're going to want this.
Right.
That dude ends up being the dude that visits the house later that nobody knows who he is.
Yeah, at the party.
Yeah.
Right.
He's like, I tried to sell you an umbrella.
Right.
But for a second, Tim Allen thought he was Santa Claus. He's like, who is that guy? I don't know.
Right.
But there's so many good movies like that.
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis is good in that movie too.
Yes.
Especially with the canned ham.
Dude, it's so funny. They don't make movies like those anymore. Like these Four Christmases or Christmas with the Cranks. Man, I feel like I don't know how they don't anymore, but they don't. There's something missing.
Right.
But God, he's
well, everything shoot 'em up or kill 'em or everybody's
superhero
screwing each other or sex and killing.
Yeah.
Speaking of other movies, what's your favorite superhero movie?
Like of the Marvel ones that have come out?
Yeah.
We had this debate this had to be a few months ago now. I don't know. I think if I'm looking at like a franchise, like a person or whatever, movies, and I know that I love the characters in the movie, Guardians of the Galaxies are so good.
Yes.
They're so funny, and that's why.
Right.
Thor, I think it's the third Thor. It might be the fourth Thor. One of them is like abnormally funny. Like it's the one where he's with Hulk and they're at the battle world and he's like talking to that rock creature and he's like, hey, you're like the new Doug. And like he doesn't, like Doug dies and he goes, all right, bye, new Doug. Like he thinks Thor's gonna go die.
Right.
But I'm more of a like, I want it to be more funny than not funny. So like I like the Deadpools.
I have just recently watched Deadpool, the very first one, like 2 months ago.
Okay.
Love it. And I'm not into those kind of movies usually. 2 was even good. 3, and then the last one, there's 4, right?
There's only 3.
Okay. The last one, no. It didn't even rank.
Really?
It got away from the like even the credits in the beginning of the movie. Some stupid kid, or how he brings the movie in, and none of that was as entertaining to me as it was the 1 and 2. 2 wasn't as good as 1, but I fell in love because I would have never watched it. And John said, let's watch this.
Yeah.
And he said, you've never seen it, you're going to love it. Oh, yeah. And I think how he portrayed himself in this movie should have been like that. Because that's what drew everybody in. How, he's talking to us.
Yeah, breaking the fourth wall.
Acting like he's not really, like we're there watching him.
Yeah, for sure.
And the last one, we watched it. I was sorry, my stomach's growling.
You're fine.
The last one just didn't have as much as that, and I think that's what made it such a good movie is the camaraderie with the people he's talking about, and just.
What is your? You asked me what my favorite.
Well,
yours was Deadpool.
Of the ones I've seen, yes, Deadpool.
Okay. I see. I like the Guardians of the Galaxy, but the last one was too sad for me. If you've seen the final one, the third one, it's just there's parts where they go into Rocket Raccoon's like backstory, and it's very sad, and you don't want to watch it, kind of thing. And I'm like, man, I don't want to. I watch you guys, like this crew of people, because y'all are funny and you're in situations, and I feel like they get to see the ultimate big villain a lot more than the other movies, like lead on to. But I don't know. I like the Marvel movies. There's a few I haven't seen yet, but they don't come off like you have to see it. I don't know.
Right.
I'm excited for what's coming. Like, I want to see who is actually going to be the big villain and, like, how they're going to, like, wrangle it all together. And they're bringing back Robert Downey Jr. He's going to be Doctor Doom now. I don't know how they're going to do that, but
Right.
I don't know. Also, before we get out of here, was there any, like, what are your favorite memories of us? Like, is there anything that you just think back that you're like, man, I love this memory?
There's so many. Like when I buy school clothes, you and Amy would do a little modeling thing for me for
Okay.
each outfit. Being in the pool at Grammy's house. You holding the sign, "Don't feed me." Remember that?
No.
When you were a toddler at your Grammy's house, Poppy's, I guess when he was in the hospital or went to the hospital, they tell you don't feed the animals and stuff like that. You got your MC Hammer blue and gold pants on with your little muscle shirt on, and you're probably 2.5 feet tall. You're holding the sign, and you got your pretty red hair, looked red then, and it was all spiked up, and your little cheeks, and just because we were in the pool all the time at Grammy, so you had little sunburnt cheeks, and you were just the light of mine and your daddy's life, you know. Watching your first competition in Atlanta.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was amazing. Just every day. It's amazing with you. Because you're such an amazing person. I'm sorry.
You're okay.
You could be hard-nosed toward the people you love sometimes, but certain ones need it.
Yeah.
And just watching who you've become and what you've done with your life. You're my baby. And I know you're not a baby. But your ambition on everything you do. Sorry.
You're fine.
Watching you skate, even though you would get hurt and beat up or banged up, you just went right back to it. And you've been a go-getter your whole life in everything you've done, you know. I wished we would have went a little further with your racing, you know. But we know what happened there, and it's never too late to pick that back up, by the way.
Maybe when I get in a better financial situation, I can re-explore that.
Well, I can steal a car. We can strip it down, paint it.
That'd be a different type of racing.
Moonshine racing.
Yeah.
No, I'm just teasing. But you had that drive in you to be that.
Yeah.
Or, well, you have the drive to be anything you put in your mind. You know, I love watching you compete, and I like hands-on. I want to be whatever you're doing. I want to be there. I don't want to be on a phone or through a text, you know.
Yeah.
I like hands-on, you know, and I miss that. Like not being a part of special things you and Amy do.
Yeah. Well, luckily, right now I'm not doing a lot of special things.
Every day you do something special.
Yeah. Well, well, you're on it. You couldn't be more hands-on than you are right now. Not like I don't think we've had any other relatives other than mine on. Like, we've had you on, we've had my dad on, we've had Tiffany on, and that's it. I don't think we've had any other relatives. Yeah. So, top 3, not bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've not had Amy on?
No.
Have
I've
you?
asked Amy before.
She don't want to come on?
I just think she's nervous about like where conversations could go and whatnot, but that's understandable. Also, like,
Well, I was too,
isn't.
but
Yeah, podcasting isn't for everybody. I
don't
feel
feel that we're on anything.
Yeah.
We're just in the living room watching TV, talking.
Yeah. How did you feel like this went?
Great.
Yeah. Was this?
I mean,
less.
Or made me dust off some old memories, or try to dust off some old memories. But
yeah. Was this less intimidating than you thought it would be?
Yeah, I was nervous. You know.
We're about having a good time on this podcast.
Awesome.
And, like, really, I was just, like, curious about... There's a lot of questions I still didn't ask. Like, just curious about your childhood and, like, growing up and stuff like that. We're out of time today, but, like, we could definitely do another episode.
Sure.
But
I'd be glad to come back.
We're going to get out of here on that. Before we get out of here, though, I am going to shout out our sponsor, Johnny Mumbles at Sacred Grounds Tattoo Studio. If you're trying to get any sort of tattoo work, if you want to get a big back piece like I'm getting, if you want to get, I don't know, smile tattooed on your wrist, if you want to get Four Christmases because it's the greatest Christmas movie of all time.
Does it give family discounts?
We might could make something shake.
I bet.
But Johnny Mumbles at Sacred Grounds Tattoo Studio. Go on Instagram, check his portfolio out. Because he's always dropping new videos or new, like,
Where's
images.
he located?
Downtown Pensacola. The exact address, I don't know. But if you know where the white Rolls Royce is that everybody thinks is John Lennon's car, his studio is literally right there. That's exactly where his studio is. It's a second floor, and he overlooks the 3 Mile Bridge. But check him out on Instagram at Johnny Mumbles, and then check out the studio at Sacred Grounds Tattoo Studio on Instagram. You're going to love what you see. If you're trying to get in there, message him or go up there and check him out. The studio looks awesome. The view is amazing. Get you in there, get some good work. Tell him the boy sent you. But we're going to get out of here on that. Yeah, you can say whatever you want to say. Go ahead.
And everybody have a Merry Christmas. Love your family. And have a safe year.
Yes, ma'am. We love you all. Thank you for tuning in. We're out of here.
Awesome.